enjoying this experience, we'll turn the lights off. Okay?
Cool. Do you have a clicker?
Oh yes.
Do I hit continue, I guess? To do this. Close it. Just close that. Sweet. Better with the lights off?
Yeah.
Yes. Awesome. Hello. Hi. I'm David Moore. I'm going to see if this clicker works by hitting. Yeah. So, hi. I'm David Moore, co-founder of and CEO of a thing called Known Origin. I'm going to start this talk or this thing just by kind of putting it out there that I'm not a blockchain specialist. So, like, why am I doing a blockchain? Exactly, why am I doing a blockchain talk? But what I'm a user experience designer that met two absolutely amazing blockchain specialists, which kind of which snowballed the whole thing when essentially created Known Origin. So Known Origin started with me wanting to use my kind of industry connections to put on a gallery, pop-up gallery in Manchester, and they essentially said, have you thought about letting people buy this crypto? And I said to them, like, what's crypto? They fired up, I think it might have been Bitrex, like some crazy charts. He said, the other co-founder, Andy, essentially gave me my 101 of kind of cryptocurrencies, blockchain, and Ethereum. And then I essentially saw the kind of the pain point that it was solving for digital artists, and how I've been burnt in the past where my stuff's been bootlegged, and the fact that blockchain does all the beautiful stuff around kind of provenance, ownership, authenticity, and gives digital stuff, things, genuine edition numbers and edition runs. So as Jenna said, I flew from Manchester today, and it was a nightmare because my plane was sat on the tarmac on the runway for two hours pretty much. Apparently it's really stormy in Amsterdam. I didn't see it when I got here, but at the minute Manchester's a really good hub for kind of innovation and blockchain. We're starting to see more and more kind of things happen in the city. I work for another agency called Equal Experts, and they've got their whole branch of kind of blockchain exploratory projects going on. But the thing that excites me is, as a designer, is this kind of the art of the possible. And when I fell in the rabbit hole, I read my first piece on a blog called Art Known, and it was about Rare Pepe, and it was about how this guy created these kind of cards and kind of opened it up to the community, and they created their own, and they all had an edition, and they were either one of ones that was really rare. But what I wanted to do is let's let ourselves for 25 minutes just explore the possible, whether that be in art and blockchain. It isn't going to be a tech-heavy talk, because like I said in slide 2, I'm not a blockchain specialist. But in April 2018, we essentially launched Known Origin with a pop-up gallery, and we partnered with Trust Wallet, who basically stuck a QR code reader in their app about 48 hours before launch, so people could walk up to physical pieces of art, pop the QR code, and essentially buy an NFT equivalent through Known Origin. We started with 10 artists and 25 artworks. We deemed it as a success because people turned up, and we got people from the creative community and people from the crypto community in one place, and they were sharing ideas and they were educating each other. And I think we're so early in the space that education is kind of one of our core values right now. We've now got 74 artists, and we've moved people from off-chain platforms that were taking payment on PayPal, and we've moved them over to a decentralized platform, and we've basically educated them about what Ethereum is, and they're taking payment through their first digital wallets. 9 times out of 10 it's Coinbase wallet, and they then download MetaMask, and it's kind of like these baby steps of onboarding these new users essentially. We've got over like almost 4,500 NFTs that are available on the site. I just want to give you a quick kind of run through that. This is as technical as this talk will ever get. So essentially we're using IPFS to store all the images and a bunch of metadata, which is like name of artwork, description of artwork, edition number, name of artist. We've created essentially microservices using like APIs, which is like image, profile pics, description of artwork, price of artwork, edition numbers, availability, bids. We've got a database that allows us to launch a load of triggers and events, because we found with release 1, we were on Web3 originally, and we found that people were pressing buy and it was spinning out, and non-blockchain or non-crypto people, non-blockchain people were thinking that the site had crashed, and they would double buy, they'd refresh the browser, they'd leave the site, they'd do a bunch of stuff that basically broke the model. So we actually figured out that going back to more of a microservice API approach allowed us to add triggers to these events, and we've improved the payment flow massively just by making it super clear about what part you're at in the journey. And then the Ethereum blockchain handles all our block hashes and smart contract. So that essentially is the nuts and bolts of kind of how the site works. We're fully ERC 721 kind of validated. We actually quite like using IPFS to kind of store, so we don't hold any of the images, we just pull them straight from IPFS, and we're actually quite proud of being quite decentralized. We don't ask you to create an account, we let MetaMask sort that out. We don't ask you to put your email in, we don't want to scrape data off you. We just want more people to own, we want to empower artists to create stuff, and we want more people to own digital things that they can truly own. And I think that's probably the narrative that will run through most of the talk. So we're actually really excited about a new kind of wave of collector, and they have this appetite for digital art, or rare digital art, and we can see this with consistently seeing other platforms kind of getting into that top 10, top 5 kind of DApp ranking. This is through transactions and sales. Super rare. We're quite pally with those guys. They focus on rare one-of-one artwork. We focus on multiples of, but there's always a finite amount, and we've never gone more than 100. I think our top edition run is 100. You can see we've kind of creeped into that top 10 point. So we've suddenly seen a big kind of spike. You can tell the litmus test has been put out there. The appetite, the intent test was put out there, and there's definitely an appetite for this thing. We're just trying to kind of find our market fit and kind of work out where the sweet spot is for kind of one-of-ones or small runs, or which artists people really engage with. What we're not trying to do is change the old establishment. Other platforms are figuring that out. We've got Codex that are they're talking to Sotheby's, that are kind of trying to figure out how to get archived artworks into a register, like a unmutable register. Let them kind of handle that. That's not what we're about. It makes sense. It still makes sense to have this immutable chain of custody of really valuable things, but I just think it's going to take a lot of time, effort, finance, and belief that you're going to change an establishment of that size with those inherent kind of dug-in beliefs to move over to this new world. We're talking about the next generation that already have an understanding and appreciation of what like a digital asset is and how it's valuable. And I think you can see that in things like, I'm going to share a little anecdote. So I've got an 8-year-old son who this Christmas I bought in Fortnite, and I said, you can only play the creative bit, you can only build stuff. I don't want you walking around kind of shooting people. So first weekend he's like, I love it, he's building things, best game ever, Dad, thanks very much. Walk past his bedroom, less than 24 hours later, and I can hear like him absolutely going crazy. He's like, I don't know how it got onto this stage. I'm on a thing called Battle Royale, and I'm like, you totally know how you got it onto that game. But his face when he picked up an item, or he got a shield, or he won something, it totally outweighs when he gets his pocket money. I could give him a £5 note, and he adds more value to a rare item on this new game that he's got than he ever would a £5 note. So they're growing up with this inherent understanding of like digital value, and I think there's something really interesting in that. And he understands the concept of ultra rare, rare, and common, and that's just not our world. We're not, as much as we want to be in that. This isn't for us. This is for the next generation of kids that are already there. Like my son has never known a time without a touchscreen. Like I can remember having to walk to the end of the road and put money into a phone box, call friends' parents and see if they were there. He will never know that world. Going off topic slightly. But so what does the art and blockchain landscape look like right now? So for the last maybe 6 to 12 months, we've seen an explosion of new platforms. We've got kind of Super Rare, we've got Makers, we've got a thing called Portion, I think, Rare Labs, Dada, we've got us in the corner there. But it's just a reflection of like there's been a massive movement into this space, and it's just it's actually quite reassuring that if we were the only people in that space, you'd be questioning yourself every day. But because you've seen others either spin stuff up really quickly because they've seen this quick interest and appetite for this sort of stuff, or you've seen like Dada's been established, they were one of the first people we reached out to, and they really kind of helped us out and inspired us. But now what we're seeing is some real big players coming in. So now the art is backed by a thing called Swisscom, which is essentially a telecommunications company. But what they're doing is they're looking at taking a digital arts, Ethereum-backed platform and integrating it into their IPTV. So I think that's really exciting, and the reason I think it's really exciting is because when we're looking at the future of these things, we're going to see the homes of the future when they're integrated. They're not going to, like my son will think I'm crazy, me knocking holes in the wall to hang a picture frame up that sits there for X amount of years, never does anything, collects dust, and then like when we move house I might take it down. His house will be fully integrated. So not only will he have screens replacing picture frames, his lighting system will reflect the mood of whatever kind of state the house is in, whether it's a party that weekend. And it'll be from the screens to the lights to the music that's playing in his house will actually reflect his personality. And I think that's where like truly ownable digital artwork fits into this kind of bigger view of the kind of the direction we're going in. And it actually really excites me that Swisscom have taken, because they've got money, they've got resource, they've got the facilities, they've got the tech, they've got the hardware to do it. Because this sort of stuff, this was on our roadmap of like, I'm going to replace all my canvases with screens in my house, and I'm going to own artwork, and I'm going to change it, and I'm going to push it up there from an app on my phone. That's going to be a really nice experience. Simply buying the hardware to do it was like, we were priced out. It was never going to happen. But it just shows you that we were kind of on the right track. And I've kind of took it 10 steps further, and like, and fully integrated house will not only have screens replacing canvas, they'll have the integrated lights, they'll have the sonic sound throughout the house, and it'll all work together to create atmosphere and mood within the house. We like to think we're doing things that are quite new, but 1923, Bauhaus first exhibition, their motto was essentially art and technology and new unity. So this is like, it's a long time coming. It's like 1920s. So when we look at things beyond art, I guess the natural next step is like gaming. I touched on it earlier before with the Fortnite anecdote, but global games industry expects to grow from like over 130 billion to 180 billion, expected to grow in 2018, and it kind of smashed that. And then the exciting thing for us is this thing called Neon District, which is essentially a multiplayer RPG game running on the Ethereum blockchain. And this is the first big step for gamers to have the ability to truly own kind of rare items that they either win, find, or trade through this game. And I think that in itself is like a massive step. And I was going to say that this is going to be a big test to the market, but then I saw a tweet just before I came upstairs that there's over 10,000 people on their wait list just to get an email to tell them what to do for the next phase. The game's not even been announced as being released yet, and they've got tens of thousands of people on a wait list just to find out what's happening next. So Epic Games banked 3 billion, mostly down to Fortnite in 2018. And essentially what we're saying is that, is it a massive leap? Is it a huge leap to think that these might be the first guys to take on the idea that you can truly own the things that you collect through the game? And is that the true kind of point where the masses get their first digital wallet and get that first step into the kind of blockchain marketplace and the crypto marketplace? Because these games are already run on virtual currencies, things that don't exist, to buy things that don't exist for a game that's just in a little world. And I think if they give you something that you can truly own, all of a sudden there's a value there, and a value of scarcity, and they suddenly they step into this digital marketplace that we're in now. But I don't think it would take long for these guys to be here and to kind of all of a sudden it'll blow up again. I think due to my plane, I think this might be my last slide. So Epic Games could be the first mainstream franchise to offer ownable digital assets that onboard the masses with their first digital wallet. This doesn't feel like a huge leap of faith to think this. Whether it's the right thing or wrong thing, and whether that feels like it'll be a centralized platform that does it and owns that, I don't know. If they do it the right way, it would be, I have an identity layer that's on the blockchain, and I can choose to add the assets that I find in that game to my digital wallet. And I think that's the direction of travel that we should go in. Thank you.
We can take some questions.
Oh no. The fear of actual
Yes,
facts.
all the way in the back. Yes.
Hey,
Hi.
how you doing?
Do you know about the GDC happening next Monday, the Unity game engine presentation on Global Game Developer Conference?
Oh no, where's that at?
There's actually a blockchain that is probably having to deal with Minecraft, and they released a Unity plugin.
That's huge.
To build.
That'd have been a great slide.
Probably you heard about engine.
No Unity, no engine, but I didn't. I wasn't aware that they were looking at a plugin.
Oh yeah, no,
That's
they've
huge.
been working on it already since I think they released something last term.
When's the conference?
Actually, I think it's starting this weekend, but Unity itself will have their talk next Monday.
In Amsterdam.
The Global Game Developer Conference, somewhere in America.
I have seen it. Yes,
Yeah.
no, I have seen it. Sorry, I thought you meant they were doing something in Amsterdam this Monday.
But I'm not sure what they're going to announce. All I'm saying, it might not be Fortnite that is the first game.
Yeah, Minecraft would be another huge franchise that makes sense because you.
If Unity got no, Fortnite is not created in the US. It cannot be Fortnite.
Yeah.
Okay, next question.
Why do you need blockchain for this? Because we have like games like WoW and other games that already sell like personalities and items,
Skins and
whole
weapons and.
exactly.
Because I'm not saying that it already exists.
Yeah.
It already exists.
There's a huge market.
Because I have a PlayStation account. But what I don't have a layer above that where if PlayStation decided that actually season 9 of Fortnite clears all your inventory down, I don't have a say in that. They own it really. I don't own it. There's no true ownership there. What I'm saying is if there was a layer above, and then if there's the ability, like they're trying to do it in a minute with I think it's called Hero Kingdoms. They're trying to say that these characters can integrate and play together and swap weapons and swap hairstyles. But what I'm saying, if there's a layer above that where any asset that I had in the game, it was almost brand agnostic, and you could share these attributes or these items or these weapons amongst any game that you own. That's the kind of the real beauty of kind of truly owning these things.
So don't you get like proprietary or like copyright situation there? Because you basically create game on top of the game. So I'm thinking now like Hearthstone, for example, they just constantly lose all my favorite cards, and then like you own the card, let's say, so you could make your own like game with your favorite cards that like separate from the copyrighted
version.
And
So you do a spin-off.
Then you get a problem with those big guys.
There's always going to be. Yeah, there's always going to be someone that doesn't want you to make a successful game that's not. Because what they'll do, they'll just come and try and buy it, or they'll just come and try and acquire it. You know, if you made a game that felt like it was a really successful thing, and it lent itself to the game you're talking about, then essentially they'd see the success of it and they'd try and buy it, they'd try and acquire it off you. But I know what you're saying is like Mario very rarely would allow you to take his hat and put it on another character, right? Because their brand would just go crazy.
Yeah.
But if there's ways, I think they're going to get to a point where people want to own these things because they're spending a lot of money on it.
But like, can you sell or own something that is already patented and owned by the game?
No.
That's, it has like lawyers and.
Yeah, it has.
Legally, I want.
Legally, no. No.
Oh, right now, no. Okay.
Yeah.
That's good.
But let's.
Curious. Very, very cool idea.
Yellow.
Yes, to jump in on that, it doesn't need to be. Like, you don't need to physically own it. You can just catalog the asset in the game, like Mario, like the Red Hat, and just put it as a reference on blockchain. So basically, you don't infringe on anyone's rights. It's just a catalog that if Nintendo decides we're going to erase everything, including the Red Hat, there's a reference on the blockchain. Actually, where you can see, hey, that guy owns the Red Hat, even though it's not available anymore. So
You cannot use it in the game anymore. If he says, okay, I'm taking the gun from whatever Fortnite and taking it to another game and using that item because it's mine.
Exactly.
It's not. It was designed by the game A, so it cannot be really used.
But you cannot just
But you can reference it. You just need to reference it. So we know on the blockchain it's actually yours, and whoever uses
You can
it.
reference it all you want, but it's not yours. It's their patent. It's their
But it's
art.
only on the blockchain because they put it there. So they have to build it, and that means they consent with those items being used cross-game. It's a little bit like the multiverse of Ready Player One, where they have these different worlds. And there's even examples. So like Engine has six launch games where they have exactly what you said, a cross-game game.
But it's a
They have to do
consent thing, right?
different different games, and then it adds up to a main quest, and it gets people to play all the games. So it's actually become part of a gaming ecosystem where you can benefit from the popularity of other games. So it will be like a big game with many add-on games that add extra value. And there's even examples of SWOT in one game being a flamethrower in another game. So it's just what you said, the reference on the blockchain. And they can implement that reference, how it looks in their game, exactly like they want. Like Mario's head will be in an underwater game. It will be like this helmet that you can breathe and get oxygen from. Something like that. You get the idea.
I think I implied that it was just like you could take anything. Where I think what you're saying is really nice, that actually there'd be a subset of assets that were like associated to the blockchain as part of the ecosystem. And I think that's the middle ground maybe. I think I was implying that you could literally take, which I was. You could literally take anything.
Okay, last question all the way in the back.
Let's say you have Epic Games producing Fortnite.
Yes.
Right now they're making a lot of money selling assets that cannot be sold to other people, like you do not truly own them.
There's not a marketplace, right?
No, but why would they enable people selling them to other people, or why would they enable true ownership? What's the
Because
steps for them?
let's say at the minute they're only 3 billion in like they earned 3 billion in 2018, and there is zero scarcity to those things. Literally, like everyone can get every type of weapon. If you had to pay a premium to get a 1 of 1, suddenly they're earning 8 billion in that year, because people will pay a premium to get the only type of weapon in that colorway that does that particular thing. So when you rock up and you jump out the bus and you land in the thing, you get that kudos of like, shit, that guy's got that weapon that was released yesterday. It was a 1 of 1. We all bidded for it and he won it. And then so they could potentially charge a premium. It wouldn't be good for me because it's just another thing I've got to buy my little boy in a year's time, when they figure out that like premium rare things that are genuinely have scarcity to them have real value. At the minute, my little boy understands rare, but anyone on that game can pick up the same. There's no finite amount. There's just anyone can get anything. So I think that's maybe a way of monetizing it. But I get it. Like they don't want to open up the ecosystem and open up a marketplace because they're earning crazy amounts of money.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
And
Cheers.
that's it.
Thanks, guys.